Hello and welcome to this Thrive Architect tutorial in which I want to show you how to use the table of contents element as well as how to use its settings. First of all, as you can see, I have already added some paragraphs and some headings to my page so that we have something to work with. The table of contents element basically creates a list of all of your headings. So let's get started. To add the element, we're gonna go ahead and click on the plus sign from the right sidebar of the editor and then either scroll down to find the element or type its name in the search bar. Once you find the element, grab it and drag and drop it where you want it placed, like so. Then this pop-up will open with some templates for the table of contents element, and you have to choose a template. Just look for the one that best fits your website and click on it. As you can see, the template has been applied and the element is now added. Now the options of this element appeared in the left sidebar. The first section of the left sidebar is the template options section, in which of course you can change the template that you have previously chosen when adding the element. To do that, click on this field right here and the same pop-up will open with all of the templates. Once you find the one you want to replace the old one with, click on it and click on this green replace template button. This is how you can replace the template whenever you feel like it. Just remember that you should replace the template before changing the content inside it. This is because once you replace the template, all of the modifications will be lost. Then moving forward, we have the main options section in the left sidebar. The first option here is the edit table of contents one. When you click on it, you will be taken into the edit mode of the table of contents element. What this means is that you can change basically any items inside the element. You can change this text right here, you can change all of the headings, and I will show you just how you can do that. So when you first enter the edit mode, no item from the table of contents element is selected. This means that if you want to use any of these options from the left sidebar, they will be applied to the entire element. For example, if I add a shadow right now, a drop shadow, as you can see, this will apply to the table of contents element and not to the items inside it. Another thing that you can do from here is to change the template, just like I've showed you before. Click on this field and choose a new template. Now, if you want to edit the text, for example, and change it from table of contents to something else, as you can see, this is a regular text element which you can just select, delete the text and enter your own. And that's it, just enter your own text and this will be saved. If you want, you can also edit the headings inside this element. Now, if you go ahead and select one of the headings, if you take a look at the breadcrumbs section, you will see that besides the table of contents, you will also have the heading list item, as well as another one, which is the heading level. I'm gonna start with explaining what the heading list is. If you click on it, you will see this green square, which includes all of the headings. This means that if you want to edit only the heading list of the table of contents element, you can do that by clicking on heading list in the breadcrumbs and then use the left sidebar options. For example, if I were to add a drop shadow now, and then change its color to red so it's more clear, and click on apply, you will see that the drop shadow applied only to the list of headings. This of course works the same for all of these options here. Now if I go ahead and click on one item again, as I've mentioned, you have this item in the breadcrumbs, which is the level of heading that you have just selected. You should note that the headings are divided in levels. This means that all of my heading ones will be grouped in the heading level 1. All of the paragraphs that have the heading 2 applied to them will be grouped in the heading level 2, and so on. This means that if you select a heading 1 from this list, you will be able to edit all of the headings of the same level. So if we bring any modifications to the heading level 1 here, the modifications will be applied to all of the paragraphs with the heading 1 applied to them. Just so you can see better what I mean, I have just selected the heading level 1, and if I were to change the typography to uppercase, as you can see, this applied to all of the level 1 headings. I will go ahead and put the text back to normal. Of course, this works the same for any type of level. When you select an item that has the heading 2 applied to it, then all of the other heading level 2 items will be selected as well. You can also change what level you're editing from this option here by clicking on this field and then selecting the level that you want to edit. Then make the modifications using the left sidebar options. If you want to exit the group styling, you can click here and you will be taken back to the main options of the element. Now I want to show you one more thing in the edit mode. You can change the way the headings look like while they're in 3 different states. If you click on one of the heading levels and go to the left sidebar, in the top right part you will see this State Normal option. If you click on it, you will see that there are 3 available states for these items. What I've showed you before was made in the normal state. However, you can also edit the way the items look like in the hover and the highlight state. If you click on one of these, then you will be able to use these left sidebar options to customize the hover state. For example, we're gonna give this one a green color. If you're not happy with the modifications, you can always click on this, which is the Reset State button, and this will bring the hover state back to its initial look. Then you can go ahead and click here to also edit the highlight state. For example, let's change this color to a darker blue color and click on Apply, and now all of the 3 states have been modified. When you're done editing all of the states and all of the items of the table of contents element, you can go ahead and click on this orange Done button. This will take you back to the main options of the element. You have some more options here that I want to go through. The first one is the colors. If you want to change the color, the default one being this blue color, you can easily do that by clicking on this color box, which will open the color picker pop-up. From here, just use this color slider or manually pick a color from here, or you can even enter a code in this field right here. You can also set the opacity from here by using the opacity slider or by entering a numerical value from 1 to 100 in this field here. Of course, if you have already saved a color and you want to use that, you will find it under the My Colors section. Once you're happy with the color that you've chosen, click on Apply. The next option is the Headings option. This is where you can basically set what headings you want to appear in your list. You might already know this, but if you want to know what headings your paragraph has, just click on this and you will see here in the panel options the heading that is applied to the respective text. As you can see, this one was a heading 2 and I also have heading 1. I'm gonna select the table of contents element again, and as you can see, the heading 4 selected here, which I do not have on my page, so I can go ahead and uncheck that. I want my table of contents to only show the heading 1 paragraphs as well as the heading 2 paragraphs, which is why I will check the box in front of H1 and uncheck the box in front of H3. Once I do that, I can go ahead and click on Update Table, and as you can see, my table looks way better now, since my page contains heading 1 and heading 2 paragraphs. Don't forget, when you bring any modifications to this list, to click on Update Table so that it updates. Also keep in mind that you cannot have more than 3 headings in this list at the time. Moving forward, the next option is the Columns one. If you click on the field next to it, a small drop-down will open with all of the 3 available options. You can choose to divide the headings into 1 column, 2 columns, or 3 columns. The next option goes hand in hand with this one, since this is the Distribute Evenly option. If you activate this, the columns will have the same number of items inside them. Again, this depends on the way you want your table of contents element to look like. If you do not want to distribute the items evenly, go ahead and deactivate this option by clicking on this switch. The next option is the Highlight option. If you click on this field, you will see all of your options. I will show you what each of these means. When you select an item from this drop-down, you will have a small preview in the editor here. Just so I can show you what this option does, I'm gonna place the table of contents in the right side of my page and use the sticky scroll behavior on it. Then I will click on Save Work, and then I will go ahead and preview this page. When you scroll down, here is my table of contents element, and when I scroll down further and get to the first heading, as you can see, this one is highlighted. Then as I'm scrolling down, the current heading will always highlight. This is what the current heading does when you choose it from this drop-down. Now, if I choose the current section, of course, the entire section that I'm viewing at the moment will be highlighted. So here's my table of contents element, and if I scroll down, the whole heading section is highlighted and not only the heading that I reached to. Now the last option from this drop-down is the progressive option. If I save the work and preview the page, this is how it will look like. This will just memorize all of the headings that I've gone through and highlight them like so. I'm gonna go ahead and place my table of contents in the center of the page again. Now this next option is the indent size one. Here is where you can basically choose the distance between a level of heading and the next one. You can modify this by clicking on these arrows and dragging them up and down, or by entering a numerical value in this field. Next, you can choose the numbering options for this element, and you can do that by clicking on this field and choosing one of these three options. If you click on none, there will be no numbering in the table of contents element. If you choose basic, the number increments by 1, as you can see, but only on the top level headings. In this case, only the heading 1 will be numbered. The last option from this dropdown is the advanced option, which if you choose, all of the heading levels will be numbered. Next, we have the text size option, which of course allows you to modify the size of the text inside the table of contents element. You can drag this slider from side to side, or you can enter a value in this field here. Then we have the line spacing option. This is where you can choose the spacing above or below the items of the table of contents element. If you want to modify the line spacing, go ahead and click on this dotted line here and drag it up and down. You can do the same for the lower line spacing, like so. The last option is the modify heading option. If you click on it, this will open a list with all of your headings. From here you can either edit each of the headings, or you can hide and show them. The way to hide a heading is to click on this eye icon here, and when you do that, the top level heading, as well as all of the other subheadings, will be hidden. If you want to show any of these items again, you can just go ahead and click on the eye icon again. Keep in mind that if you have hidden a top level heading and all of the subheadings were hidden as well, when you click again to show the top heading, you will have to click again on each of the subheadings that were hidden with it, if you want to make them visible again. As I've mentioned, another thing that you can do is to change the name of the headings by clicking on this pencil icon here. When you do that, the name will be editable and you can select it and write in another name for the heading. After that, click on this check icon here to save the new name. As you can see, this has been modified. The last option that you have here is the sync option. If you change some of the headings or even all of them from here, from the modify heading option, and you click on this sync button, then all of the headings will go back to the name of the headings that you have written here in the paragraphs. So if I click on sync right now, the first heading will modify again, inheriting the name of my first heading written here. This is how you can use all of the main options of the table of contents element. Of course, besides these, you can also use the rest of the general options, for which we have separate articles in our knowledge base. I hope this tutorial was helpful for you. If you need more information about various Thrive Architect elements and features, please make sure to take a look at our tutorials page.